To talk more about this, we can welcome to the program Cianan Russell, Senior Policy Officer at ILGA-Europe. Welcome to the program. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So I was wondering, since after that report you sort of see a little background there, could you take us through how we ended up where we are today with the mayor of Budapest defying the prime minister, holding that march despite this government ban?
Absolutely. To see the full story, we have to go back several years to 2021 when Budapest passed their Child Protection Act. That law banned, among other things, the display of LGBTI-related imagery and symbols in public spaces under the guise of, quote-unquote, protecting children. That law is under infringement proceedings with the European Union, has gone to the European Court of Justice, and the European Commission has a strong position that the law indeed violates EU law. Earlier this year, in March 2025, the Hungarian government passed a new law using the 2021 Child Protection Act as a legal basis to ban pride marches in the country. That law thus uses the same argument that pride in itself has the potential to harm children should they see pride-related activities. There's been a great deal of effort since then to get by European Parliament, by European Union member states, to get the European Commission to act to, at the very least, block the ban while it goes through a legal evaluation by the Commission and potentially the European Court of Justice. But to date, the Commission has not taken that action. And as a result, the mayor of Budapest said that he would host the Pride event as a municipal event. It's unclear, honestly, if having the event be a municipal event will have the kind of effect that the mayor hopes. As we just saw, Prime Minister Orban has made clear that he still considers the event to be unlawful and banned, even though it is classified as a municipal event. So the next few hours will tell us quite a great deal about the safety and security of of the participants in the Pride, as well as whether there is a clear violation of freedom of assembly within an EU member state.
Yes, I understand that attendees could potentially be risking fines of up to €500. The police can use facial recognition technology to identify them. Organizers could face a 1-year prison sentence. So this is some serious stuff here. But this showdown, could it have been avoided?
It could. One of the things that we've been calling for since March, when the 2025 law was passed, was for the European Commission to call for interim measures. Interim measures essentially puts an injunction on a law while legal proceedings are allowed to continue, which would have kept the Hungarian government from implementing the new 2025 law until it could be evaluated in terms of its legality in the European Union legal framework. Had those interim measures been requested at any point in the last 3 months, I think we would not be in the situation that we're in today. Unfortunately, everyone who's attending the Pride today is at risk of legal consequences. And you also point out the use of facial recognition, which in itself potentially violates a different European Union law, the AI Act, which has quite strict regulations around in what ways AI can be used to identify people. And in a public gathering like this is explicitly prohibited under the AI Act. So there's several angles that the Commission could have taken to temporarily block while legal analysis was ongoing.
Now, at the moment, our focus here is on Hungary because of the Pride Parade that's going on right now. But are we seeing a rollback of the rights of the LGBTQ communities in Europe?
We're certainly seeing a challenge. And that challenge has manifested itself in attacks on Pride beyond Hungary as well, in Turkey, in the UK, where there are efforts to limit or completely block the freedom of assembly, we've also seen a rather severe attack on the human rights of trans people, and that's taking place across the region, from Slovakia to potential challenges in Romania, in Bulgaria, as well as in the UK with the recent UK Supreme Court ruling and the interpretation of the Equality and Human Rights Commission in the UK. All of these things, from our perspective, are a bit of a smokescreen. LGBTI people are, in this moment in history, an easy scapegoat for those wishing not only to attack the human rights framework, but to attack democracy itself, to distract the general public from those attacks on democracy and create a villain that's easily targeted and marginalized. LGBTI people make up only 5 to 10% of populations, trans people more like 0.5% of the population. And so it's quite easy to vilify this group with which many people have no contact. And in doing so, hide anti-democratic efforts, as we're seeing in Slovakia with the potential constitutional reform, which on its surface is being presented to the public as about protecting sort of traditional concepts of gender and gender roles. But within that is a clause on national sovereignty, which would essentially exempt Slovakia from EU law, which is an anti-democratic effort. That part isn't being discussed in the public sphere. It's only the LGBTI part, because that's salacious or more interesting to the general public. But what we see is these anti-democratic efforts and anti-LGBTI efforts go hand in hand.
So we were mentioning a little bit earlier about if the European Commission had stepped in a little sooner, maybe the showdown wouldn't be happening the way it's happening currently. Do you feel the European Commission is doing enough to protect the rights of the community? And what else or what more could they be doing?
Unfortunately, we don't. To this day, we've gotten a lot of strong words about how love is love. You have the right to love whom you want. You have the right to be who you are. But the European Commission is not using all the tools in its toolbox to ensure that those rights that they purport are being protected. The main tool that we would have liked to see the Commission use before today is calling for interim measures to block the implementation of this ban in Hungary before a full legal analysis could be done. That was something that was relatively straightforward to do, and the Commission refused. So unfortunately, no, we don't feel that the European Commission is using every tool in their toolbox.
Thank you so much, Cianan, for joining us today. That's that's Cianan Russell, Senior Policy Officer at ILGA-Europe.